North Las Vegas just sent a shockwave through the entire state of Nevada, and the governor is scrambling behind closed doors. Because what started as a few families missing payments has now exploded into a full-blown foreclosure surge, one big enough to threaten the entire regional economy. And trust me, the numbers coming out this week are worse than anything state officials were prepared for. Before we break down what's really happening, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. And let me ask you this, do you think Nevada's housing crisis is temporary, or is this the beginning of a massive nationwide collapse? Drop your thoughts below. All right, let's get into it. The first signs of trouble popped up earlier this year, but no one expected what came next. North Las Vegas, a city that skyrocketed in population during the pandemic boom, is suddenly seeing a foreclosure wave that looks eerily similar to 2008. Back then, Nevada became ground zero for the housing crash. Today, many residents fear history is repeating itself. People started noticing something odd, more for sale signs popping up, more listings that sat on the market longer than usual, and more homeowners quietly admitting they were falling behind on payments. But then the data hit and everything changed. Foreclosures in North Las Vegas didn't just rise. They spiked. They jumped in a way that forced the governor's office to call emergency meetings, demand briefings, and even reach out to major lenders. Because when one city starts collapsing like this, it doesn't stop there. It spreads fast. You have to understand something about North Las Vegas. During the COVID housing boom, it became one of the hottest markets in America. Cheap land, rapid construction, investors flooding in, families relocating from California. It was a recipe for explosive growth. Homes that sold for $270,000 in 2019 were suddenly going for $420,000 or more. Wages didn't rise at the same speed, but everyone believed prices would keep climbing forever. Then interest rates jumped. Suddenly, that $1,600 mortgage turned into a $3,000 payment for the same house. Adjustable rate mortgages reset. Property taxes climbed. Insurance soared. And those investors who bought up entire neighborhoods, many of them realized rents were stagnating while costs were exploding. So what did they do? They started offloading properties quickly. That triggered the first price drops. Then more homeowners panicked. And before long, you had a classic market inversion. More homes available, fewer buyers willing to pay inflated prices, and thousands of people now holding mortgages worth more than their home's value. Negative equity is one of the most dangerous signs in any market. It's exactly what happened before the 2008 crash. And North Las Vegas is now showing all the same early warning lights. Banks started filing default notices at a pace local officials haven't seen in over a decade. Entire zip codes are suddenly at risk. And as this data hit the governor's desk, panic set in. This is no longer just a North Las Vegas problem. This is now a Nevada problem. And if it continues, it will become a national one. The governor's office didn't expect this. In fact, just a few months ago, Nevada officials were bragging about economic recovery, job growth, and rising home values. But behind those polished press releases, something much darker was building, and North Las Vegas was the first place to crack. When the foreclosure numbers landed on the governor's desk, the reaction was immediate. Emergency calls to the state housing authority, a closed-door meeting with financial regulators, and a quiet request for federal data to confirm how bad things were. The governor isn't admitting it publicly, but insiders say one thing is perfectly clear. Nevada is sitting on a powder keg. Here's what makes this crisis far more dangerous than the one in 2008. Back then, people were losing homes mostly because of predatory lending and exotic mortgages. Today, the crisis is coming from something different and potentially more devastating. It's the combination of stagnant wages, skyrocketing living costs, and a housing market that artificially inflated during the pandemic. Imagine this. You buy a home in 2021 because everyone told you prices would only rise. You stretched your budget. You took advantage of low interest rates. You bid $30,000 above asking because you were terrified of being priced out forever. Fast forward to today. Your mortgage is still high. Your grocery bill is double. Your utilities are triple. and your home value is dropping every single month. That's not a crash, that's a trap. And thousands of North Las Vegas homeowners are now trapped. But there's another layer: institutional investors. The big guys, Wall Street firms, hedge funds, real estate corporations. They bought thousands of homes across Nevada during the boom years. And now they're pulling back. Some are selling at a loss. Others are letting homes go into foreclosure because it's cheaper than holding them. Think about the ripple effect. When a regular homeowner forecloses, it's tragic. But when a big investment firm walks away from 70, 100, 300 homes, that floods the market. That sends prices crashing further. That destroys the property values of entire neighborhoods. And North Las Vegas has some neighborhoods where investors own 1 in every 5 homes. This is why the governor is panicking, because foreclosures don't just affect homeowners. They affect tax revenue, city budgets, school funding, and employment. A foreclosure crisis creates a domino effect that hits an entire state's economy. If too many homes default, banks tighten lending. If lending tightens, home sales drop. If sales drop, construction slows. If construction slows, jobs vanish. Then more people fall behind on payments, and the cycle accelerates. Nevada is staring at the possibility of a full economic contraction. And here's the worst part. Local officials tried to downplay the early signs. They hoped things would adjust naturally. They hoped the market would correct slowly. Instead, the opposite happened. The correction turned into a collapse. And now the governor is stuck trying to contain a crisis that may already be too far gone. The more you dig into what's happening in North Las Vegas, the more you realize this wasn't just predictable, it was inevitable. Because Nevada built its entire housing boom on one fragile assumption: that people would always keep moving in, paying higher prices, and pushing demand endlessly upward. But that assumption just broke. One of the biggest drivers behind the surge of foreclosures is the simple fact that people are leaving, not in massive caravans, but in steady, quiet waves. Families who chased affordable living during the pandemic are now looking at their monthly bills and asking, why are we paying California prices without California wages? North Las Vegas was once a bargain. Today, it's one of the least affordable markets relative to income. That mismatch is now crushing homeowners. Here's the cold truth. A huge percentage of people who bought homes between 2020 and 2023 can no longer afford to live in them. Many didn't get raises. Some saw hours cut. Others were hit by inflation across every part of life: rent, food, insurance, utilities. And then the mortgage resets started hitting. Adjustable rate mortgages that were dirt cheap 2 years ago suddenly jumped by 30%, 40%, even 60%. Homeowners who were paying $1,400 a month are now staring at bills for $2,300 or more. And the lenders aren't offering relief. They're offering paperwork and deadlines. This is why default notices have exploded. But the governor's panic isn't just about economics. It's also about politics. Nevada is a swing state. Housing instability could reshape entire voter demographics, destroy confidence in leadership, and trigger public anger at a level that spills into national elections. That's why the governor's office is scrambling for narrative control. They're desperately trying to avoid one phrase: Nevada housing crash. Because once that phrase hits headlines, confidence collapses. When confidence collapses, markets follow. The last thing Nevada needs is a self-fulfilling panic. But here's the problem. The panic has already started from the inside. Banks are quietly tightening lending requirements. Real estate agents are reporting buyers pulling out of deals at the last second. Sellers are cutting prices by $20,000, $50,000, even $100,000 just to get attention. And still, homes sit. You can't hide that, not from locals. Neighbors see the moving trucks. They see the boarded windows. They see the abandoned yards. And they're talking. Word travels fast when a crisis goes silent. One resident described it perfectly. It's like deja vu. We've seen this movie before, and we know how it ends. And the big question now is, who's next? Because North Las Vegas doesn't exist in a bubble. Henderson is already seeing a rise in missed payments. Sparks and Reno are quietly reporting increases in listings and price cuts. Even the luxury markets around Summerlin are softening, something that almost never happens. The foreclosure wave is spreading, and the governor knows it. That's why their team is drafting emergency relief proposals, exploring temporary freezes on foreclosure filings, and even considering tax incentives for underwater homeowners. But it might be too late. Once a market breaks, you can't tape it back together. The situation in North Las Vegas has now reached a point where even longtime residents, people who survived the 2008 housing collapse, are saying this feels different. Not just familiar, but more alarming. And the reports landing on the governor's desk confirm exactly that. What's happening today isn't driven by reckless subprime loans or sudden unemployment spikes. It's the result of something deeper, a long-growing imbalance between what homes cost and what people actually earn. Once that foundation cracks, no amount of political messaging can patch it back together. A leaked briefing from inside the governor's office paints a stark picture. If foreclosures continue rising at the current pace, Nevada could experience a market correction of 15% to 25% in multiple cities, and North Las Vegas is positioned to take the worst hit. The reason stretches back to the pandemic boom. North Las Vegas was overwhelmed with speculative buying, out-of-state investors, remote workers fleeing expensive coastal states, and desperate first-time buyers terrified of being priced out forever. It created a wave of artificial demand that was never sustainable. Now that interest rates have surged and the economy has tightened, that artificial demand has vanished. But mortgages don't vanish. Payments don't vanish. And the people left behind are drowning in numbers that don't add up anymore. When analysts examined the data, they found tens of thousands of Nevada homeowners are now cost-burdened, paying more than 30% of their income toward housing. Even worse, thousands are severely cost-burdened, paying 50% or more. Once families hit that threshold, their finances are hanging by a thread. One unexpected bill, one emergency, one job disruption is all it takes to push them into default. That's exactly the kind of financial tipping point now rippling across North Las Vegas. The governor's biggest fear, however, isn't just rising foreclosures. It's what those foreclosures do to entire neighborhoods. When one or two homes default, it's tragic but manageable. But when clusters of homes foreclose in the same area, the impact becomes devastating. Property values fall, crime risks rise, schools lose funding, businesses struggle, people move out. The entire community begins to deteriorate, and the damage compounds quickly. North Las Vegas already has streets where 3, 4, even 6 foreclosure notices sit within a few blocks of each other. Local officials are sounding alarms, warning that neighborhood destabilization is happening in real time, and the governor is running out of options. Should the state intervene to support homeowners, pressure banks to pause filings, offer grants, tax breaks, or emergency programs, or let the market collapse and rebuild from the rubble? Every path is risky. But the nightmare scenario, the one state leaders won't say publicly, is that Nevada becomes the epicenter of the next national housing downturn. Because if Nevada cracks, other overheated markets could crack too. Arizona, Texas, Florida, Colorado. The markets that soared the highest during the pandemic are now the most vulnerable. Everyone in the governor's circle knows it. The banks know it. Analysts know it. North Las Vegas is just the first alarm bell, and it's ringing loudly. What's happening in North Las Vegas right now isn't just a warning. It's a glimpse into the future of America's most overheated housing markets. And as the foreclosure numbers stack higher and higher, the governor of Nevada is being forced into a position no politician wants, deciding whether to confront an economic disaster head-on or hope the crisis burns out on its own. But hope doesn't stop homes from going dark. It doesn't stop families from packing trucks. And it doesn't stop lenders from filing default default notices at a pace this state hasn't seen in more than a decade. Behind the scenes, advisors are pushing the governor to move quickly. They want foreclosure protection programs, mortgage relief assistance, and emergency funds to stabilize the neighborhoods hit hardest. But there's a problem. Nevada's budget isn't built to handle a housing meltdown. Any major intervention would require federal coordination, something that takes time that North Las Vegas doesn't have. Every week of delay means more defaults, more abandoned homes, more sinking property values, and more people are losing faith in the idea that Nevada is still a place where the middle class can survive. Meanwhile, real estate agents on the ground say they've never seen so many homeowners trying to sell before their mortgage becomes unaffordable. Some are even listing homes below market value just to escape before they fall underwater. The panic is subtle, but it's growing. It shows up in price cuts, in expired listings, in sellers calling agents twice a day asking if anyone has booked a showing. It shows up in the new reality that buyers, who once had to fight off bidding wars, now have the power to walk away, negotiate hard, or simply wait for bigger discounts. And this shift in psychology is dangerous. Housing markets thrive on confidence. The moment people believe prices will fall, they wait. When they wait, demand drops. When demand drops, prices fall even faster. North Las Vegas is entering that psychological spiral. And the governor's office knows once confidence breaks, there's almost no turning back. But here's the truth that no official wants to say aloud. The people suffering most right now aren't speculators or investors. It's a regular family. Teachers, drivers, office workers, parents who bought a home believing they were securing stability, not walking into a ticking financial bomb. These are the people calling hotlines, begging for extensions, hoping for relief that isn't coming fast enough. And every foreclosure filed represents another household pushed out of the dream they worked years to achieve. So where does Nevada go from here? The governor's team is preparing public statements to calm residents, planning town halls, and crafting proposals they hope will stop the bleeding. But whether these measures work or whether they arrive too late is still unknown. What is certain is that North Las Vegas has become the epicenter of a crisis the entire country is now watching. Because if the collapse continues, Nevada won't be the only state in trouble. It will be the first domino. And that's why this story matters. It isn't just about one city or one governor or one set of foreclosure numbers. It's about a fragile housing system that's starting to crack under its own weight. And if state leaders don't act soon, the crisis spreading through North Las Vegas could become the blueprint for a broader national downturn, one that reshapes everything from homeownership to the American middle class itself.